Hello everyone, good morning. We have already done part 1 and part 2 of class 9, chapter number 7, diversity in living organisms. Today we are going to start part 3, Protista. This group includes many kind of unicellular organisms, eukaryotic organisms, that I have already told you all the meaning of eukaryotic. That means organisms which have got well developed nucleus. Some of these organisms use appendages. What are appendages? Some helping parts such as the hair like cilia, as in paramecium, or weak like flagella for moving around. This mode of nutrition can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. Examples are unicellular algae, diatoms, protozoa, etc. That we saw in the last page, weep like a flagellum was there, that is in Igelina. See here, this is only. And proto examples are given here of diagram is given to us: paramecium, amoeba and Igelina. First kingdom we saw kingdom Monera, second one we saw kingdom Protista. Now third one we are going to see, that is kingdom Fungi. Fungi is derived from the Latin word fungus, which means a mushroom. So these are simple non-green plants which are not photosynthetic. See, it has been written here, these are heterotrophic eukaryotic animals. Some of them use decaying organic material as food, and therefore they are also known as saprotrophs. Saprotrophs. Why? Because they depend on dead and decaying matter for deriving their nourishment, for deriving their food. Others require a living protoplasm of a host organism for food. They are called parasites. That means they live on the body of some other organisms, and then they derive food from that organism on whose body they are living. Many of them have the capacity to become multicellular organisms at certain stages in their lives, and they have cell walls made up of tough complex sugar called the chitin. And the examples are yeast, molds and mushrooms. See here, diagram has been given. Next we have some fungal species live in a permanent mutually dependent relationship with blue-green algae, or we call the cyanobacteria. That means mutually dependent relationship. This means they give benefit to one another. In lichen, blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria, they coexist for mutual benefit. That means one gives benefit to the other in one way, and the other also gets benefit from the first one in some way. And so they are said to be in mutual benefit. Such relationships are called symbiotic, and the organisms are the phenomenon, and the phenomenon is called symbiosis. These symbiotic life forms are called lichens. We have all seen lichens as the slow growing large colored patches on the bark of the trees. So if we have not seen, you can see the lichens are the slow growing large colored patches on the bark of the trees. These lichens, they also grow on the ground and they are hardy. Next kingdom we have got kingdom Plantae. In this kingdom Plantae, what we will see, that these are multicellular eukaryotes with cell walls, and they are autotrophs. All green plants are included in this kingdom Plantae. Non-green plants are also included, but green plants, they are autotrophs and they use chlorophyll for photosynthesis. Thus, all plants are included. See, it has been written. All plants are included in this group. Since plants and animals are most visible form of the diversity of life around us, we will look at the subgroups in this category in the later part of this chapter. Next, we have another kingdom, that is kingdom Animalia. In the kingdom Animalia, we include all organisms which are multicellular eukaryotic without cell wall. They are heterotrophs, that means they cannot prepare their own food. They are directly or indirectly dependent on the plants. And again, we will look about each of these subgroups in the later part of the chapter. So let us understand the classification of the organisms. Organisms have been divided into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotics means they will be unicellular or the monera. Eukaryotics will be of two types, unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular, if they will be categorized as protista, and if they are multicellular, they will be categorized as with cell wall or without cell wall. If they are without cell wall, they will be categorized as Animalia, and if they are with cell wall, that means whether they do photosynthesis or not. If they do not perform photosynthesis, they are fungi, and if they are able to perform photosynthesis, they are plantae. So this is the 5 kingdom of classification. Now we will study about the detailed classification of kingdom Plantae. The first level of classification among plants depend on whether the plant's body has well differentiated distinct parts or not. And next one, we have next classification, we have the next level of classification is based on whether the differentiated body part has special tissues for the transport of water and other substances or not. So classification looks at the ability to bear seeds and whether the seeds are enclosed within the fruits or not. So we are seeing 3 here. One we will see whether the plant's body has a well differentiated distinct part. Next we have see whether the differentiated plant body has special tissues for transport of water and other substances or not. And third we have whether the plant has got the ability to bear seeds and whether the seeds are enclosed within the fruits or not. So now let us see this chart. We will understand in a better way. So if plants do not have differentiated plant parts, then they are termed as Thallophyta. And if the plants have differentiated plant parts, then they are classified without specified vascular tissue and with vascular tissue. If they are without specialized vascular tissue, they are categorized as, they are known as Bryophyta. And if they have vascular tissue, then they are classified into 2 types, whether they do produce seeds or whether they do not produce seeds. If they produce seeds, then they are known as Phanerogamous. And if they do not produce seeds, they are known as Pteridophyta. And when they produce seeds, we classify them into where they bear naked seeds or the seed is inside the fruit. If it is inside the fruit, then we call them angiosperm. And if they do not enclose inside, if the seed is not enclosed inside the fruit, we call it gymnosperms. And then when we come to angiosperms, we see whether they have 2 cotyledons or 1 cotyledon. If they have 2 cotyledon, we call them as dicot. If they have 1 cotyledon, we call them as monocot. Now let us study about each of these in detail. We will start with Thallophyta. So plants that do not have well differentiated body design are grouped as Thallophyta. The plants in this group are commonly called as algae, and these plants are predominantly aquatic, that means they are found in water. Example is Spirogyra, Ulothrix, Cladophora, Ulva and Chara. Diagram can be seen here. All the diagrams of these algae has been shown here. Next, if they have well differentiated body part, then we put them in the category of Bryophyta. We put them in the category of Bryophyta. Next is we see whether they have got differentiated plant parts or not. If they have differentiated plant parts, then we see they have specialized vascular tissue or they do not have specialized vascular tissue. When they do not have specialized vascular tissue, then we classify them as Bryophyta. We call them as Bryophyta. So now we will see about Bryophyta. So these are called the amphibians of the plants kingdom. The plant body is commonly differentiated to form stem and leaf-like structures. One question is, why do we call these Bryophyta as the amphibians of the plant kingdom? These Bryophyta, they are small multicellular green land plants. And these simple land plants, they are mainly found in shady damp places. So they are known as amphibians of the plant kingdom. Because whom do we call amphibians? Those organisms that live both on land and in water, they are known as amphibians. So these Bryophyta, they are found on land, but they are found on damp places. So they are known as amphibians of the plant. The plant body is commonly differentiated to form stem and leaf-like structures, and there is no specialized tissue for the conduction of water and other substances from one part of the plant to the other part. Example, moss, Funaria, scientific biological name, and Marchantia. Diagram you can see here. Next we have, if it has got well developed specialized vascular tissue, then we have to see whether they do produce seeds or they do not produce seeds. If they do not produce seeds, then we call them as Pteridophyta. And so now we will study about Pteridophyta. In this group, the plant body is differentiated into roots, stems and leaves and has specialized tissue for the conduction of water. Here we saw they do not have specialized tissues for the conduction of water. Here they have got specialized tissues for the conduction of water and other substances from one part of the plant to the other part. Some examples of Marsillia, ferns, horsetails. Example, the diagram can be seen here. Here is the diagram given. Next, what we are told, the reproductive organs of plant in all the three groups are very inconspicuous and they are therefore called cryptogams, or those with hidden reproductive organs. That means the reproductive organ, the seeds, they are hidden. On the other hand, plants with well differentiated reproductive organ part that ultimately make seeds are called phanerogames. Seeds are the result of sexual reproduction process. How are the seeds produced? Because of sexual reproduction process. They consist of the embryo along with stored food, which helps in the initial growth of the embryo during germination. And this group is further classified based on whether the seeds are naked or enclosed in the fruits, giving up two groups, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So we had seen in this page that plants, Thylophyta, Then if they have differentiated plant parts, then bryophyta, that means without specialized vascular tissue and with muscular tissue. So without one bryophyta and with vascular tissue ones were known as the pteridophyta, that means that do not produce seeds and produce phanerogames. And these phanerogames have been further divided whether they bear naked seeds or they bear seeds that are found inside the fruits. So the bear naked seeds one is gymnosperm and bear seeds inside the fruit angiosperm. So now we will study about these gymnosperms. Now we have gymnosperm. This term is derived from two Greek words. Gymno means naked and sperm means seed. The plants of the group bear naked seeds and are usually perennial, evergreen and woody. Perennial means living alive for many years. Annual means living alive for 1 year or becoming fully growth in 1 year. Perennial takes so many years. Evergreen, always it will be green, and woody, sufficient amount of wood is in that. Examples are pines and deodar. Diagram can be seen here in this part. Next we have got angiosperm. This word is made from two Greek words. Angio means covered, case we can say, C-S-E, case, and sperma means seed. So these are such kind of plants which produce seeds enclosed inside the fruit. These are also called flowering plants. The seeds develop inside an ovary which is modified to become a fruit. Plant embryos in seed substructures called cotyledons. As you must have seen a gram, if you will remove the covering of the gram, inside you will see two halves. So each half is known as cotyledon, or we can call them the seed leaves. And such type of plants which produces two seed leaves, they are called dicotyledons, or in short we say dicot. And the one which produces or which has only one seed leaf like the rice, we call them as the monocot or monocotyledons. So cotyledons are called seed leaves because in many such instances they emerge and become green when the seed germinates. The angiosperms are divided into two groups in the basis of the number of cotyledons present in the seed. Plant with seed having a single cotyledons are called monocotyledonous or monocotyledons or monocots. And plants with seeds having two cotyledons are called dicotyledonous or dicotyledons, or simply in short dicots. You can see the diagram here, monocot, dicot. Before going to the next part, let us see some more difference between monocot and dicot. Monocot, they have one cotyledon. Dicot, they have two cotyledons. Monocot, they have fibrous roots, and dicot have got prominent roots, primary roots. Monocot, their stem may be hollow, false stem, but in case of dicot, the stem will be strong. In monocot, the leaves may have parallel venation. Parallel venation, you understand the meaning of parallel venation? That means in the leaf, the veins are there, they are parallel to one another, like the case of banana, you can see banana leaves. And in the case of dicot, the leaves have got reticulate venation. In monocot, the flowers are trimerous. That means the petals will be either 3 in number or a multiple of 3. The petals of the flower will be 3 or a multiple of 3. And in dicot, they are pentamerous. Pentamerous, pentamerous. That means the flowers will have petals either 5 or a multiple of 5. Next, now we will study about the kingdom Animalia in detail. We will do the detailed classification of kingdom Animalia. So Animalia, these are organisms which are eukaryotic, multicellular and heterotrophic. Their cells do not have cell walls. Most animals are mobile, that means they go from one place to another. And they are further classified based on the extent and the type of the body design differentiation found in them. So let us come and see their classification first, how they have been classified. These animals, if they are of cellular level of organization, in their body have got, they are unicellular or less number of cells are there, they are called cellular level organization. Then we put them as Porifera, we call them as Porifera. And then we see whether this animal has got tissue level of organizations, that means multicellular we can call. When they are multicellular one, then we check whether no body cavity between the epidermis and gastroderms, and whether they have got body cavity. Now if they have got no body cavity, then they may be grouped as Coelenterata, Paleohelminthes. Then they are grouped as Pseudomycelum and Coetomate. The pseudomate is known as the nematoda, and Coetomate is further divided on the basis of cells from single cell during growth of the embryo. That means cells grow from a single cell, or the cells are found from the pouches pinched off from the endoderm. If they are grow from a single cell during growth of the embryo, then we call them as Annelida and Mollusca or the Arthropoda. And if they are grown from the pouches pinched off from the endoderm, then we classify them as whether they are notochord, whether notochord is present or notochord is not present. But all these details, the meaning and the definition we will see the later on. And then no notochord are termed as echinodermata. And if they are notochord is present, then they are called as chordata. And when they are chordata, then we have to see whether they are, this notochord is replaced by vertebral column when they grow into adults, or they have rudimentary one. If they have rudimentary one, we call them as a protochordata. And if they develop vertebral column in adult stage, we call them as vertebrata. And when they are vertebrata, then they are of various types. This we will see various types of how they have body design: Zoles one, endoskeleton one, gills one, exoskeleton one, of scale, exoskeleton of feathers, exoskeleton of hair. And then we call them as Coelurostomata, Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Apes, and we human beings, the Mammalia. So we will study about each of these in detail. Next part of the chapter we will see in another video.